One more question I have about Judaism. Do you have different sects in Judaism? Like in Islam, there are different sects, also in Christianity. So, do you have such divisions in Judaism?
Yes, there is division in Judaism. Uh, so it's in the current time. One of the great divisions within Judaism is between what is called progressive Judaism and Orthodox Judaism.
Okay.
So progressive Judaism is not recognized by people of Orthodox practice. Orthodoxy takes the view that all of the laws of the Torah are absolutely binding. Women cannot be religious leaders, in a formal sense. Men and women pray separately. In progressive, there are lots of different modernizations, or some people would call progressive Judaism Reformed Judaism. That it's changed. Women can be rabbis. Men and women can pray together, and so on. But there are also other subdivisions. One other division is between Hasidic Jews, which is the tradition I come from, that is more about thinking about the mysteries about God, the different names of God, focused on love and fear of God. And then there was a mystical teachings trying to understand how does an infinite God relate to a finite world. What are the different ways that God manifests in kindness and strength, and how God hides from us? All of these very deep teachings that are important in Hasidic traditions and a lot of song. There's other traditions that are more focused on the laws and following the rules, and more technical and known as the misnagdim, the opponents of the Hasidic movement. So those are two. And another great variation is also just in terms of practice, not so much in terms of thought, but is geographical as well.
Wonderful. इन्होंने बताया कि यहूदियत में भी बहुत सारे फिरके बने हुए हैं, बात के ऊपर फिरके हैं, कुछ पुरानी ट्रेडिशंस को लेकर चलते हैं, कुछ ख़वातीन के हवाले से बहुत स्ट्रिक्ट हैं और कुछ नए हैं, मॉडरेट हैं, मगर ये तय है कि खुद यहूदियत में भी बेशुमार फिरके मौजूद हैं. It's coming closer to the questions I really have, and there are journal questions, of course. How do you see other religions, especially Abrahamic religions, the Christianity and Islam? Do you think that one day they can be united on some similarities?
I don't think that the religions can be united. And I know that for some Muslims, interfaith dialogue is seen as an effort to create unity between the religions, and is therefore seen as a betrayal of truth claims. For me, I am, as the leader of an organization, one of the leaders of an organization called Together for Humanity. For me, it's always been about unity between believers rather than unity between religions.
Wow.
And the difference for me is that I think it is important that people are the right for us to assert the truth as we understand it must be respected. So if Christians want to believe that God came, whatever they mean by the Trinity, and it's very hard for me as a non-Christian to understand what they mean by that, it's their right to claim that. And I don't want unity with that idea of God as being one in three. For me, God is one, and that's the end of that conversation. However, I think there's a big difference between seeking unity between the religions, merging the different religions because we have so much in common, which we do, which I'm not working towards or really that interested in, because I feel that each religion has very unique traditions and very unique contributions to make in God's bigger plan. So from my perspective, I think that there is truth, and God knows what the truth is. Us as human beings, we are obligated to try to follow truth as best as we understand
Right.
it.
राइट दैट्स ट्रू मुख्तसर बताऊंगा उन्होंने फरमाया उन्होंने सवाल पूछा कि तमाम मज़ाहिब को खासतौर से अब्राहमिक रिलीजन्स को जोड़ा जा सकता है उन्होंने कहा मज़हब को जोड़ना मुश्किल नामुमकिन नज़र आता है अलबत्ता मजहबी लोगों को जोड़ के बिठाया जा सकता है और बात की जा सकती है मगर उन्होंने ये भी कहा कि बड़ा मुश्किल है ये बात समझना कि वो जो कि एक खुदा के मानने वाले हैं तीन खुदाओं को कैसे समझेंगे जो ट्रिनिटी का कॉन्सेप्ट है उसको कैसे समझेंगे बाय द वे व्हिच इज मोर closer to Judaism, Islam, or Christianity? Because, as you said, Christianity goes for three of the Trinity concept. Islam is a monotheistic religion.
Yeah, I think that Islam and Judaism are much more similar than Judaism is to Christianity. Yes, so first of all, in terms of belief, that's a very big difference. So I have prayed in mosques.
Really?
Yes, because there's no worship that is a problem for me in terms of Islam is pure monotheism. It's worshiping the one God who is the creator of all of us. We might have different words to describe him, and in fact, each of us as individuals, because of our limitations, when we pray to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, not because there's three gods, but because Abraham experienced God in one way, and Isaac experienced God another way, and Jacob a third way, and me as a very limited individual will experience God in another way. So that's one important similarity. But the other one is also that Judaism and Islam are very much a whole system of how you live. It's how you get dressed. I put on my right shoe before my left
That's
shoe.
true.
Okay, I tie my left shoe before my right shoe. Food, fasting. There's so much behavioral aspects of worship. Whereas for Christians, it's very limited, and it's Christians, rightly or wrongly, it's for God to judge. But what Christians will say is it's all about love. And I think that for Jews, we have many names for God. We believe that God is merciful. We believe that God judges. We have many names for God because God is the source of everything. Of course, Muslims also have many names for God. So I think that there's so much similarity in the ways in which we live our faith. So even though there are important differences, and I don't think it's honest or useful to pretend that there are no differences. Sorry, I thought
बड़ी ज़बरदस्त बात चली उन्होंने मैंने सवाल पूछा कि कौन सा मज़हब ज़्यादा करीब है यहूदियत ईसाईयत या इस्लाम उन्होंने कहा कि इस्लाम और यहूदियत बहुत सारी जगहों पे सिमिलर नज़र आते हैं कस्टम्स में ट्रेडिशन में डिसिप्लिन में बेशुमार चीज़ों में कैसे नज़र आते हैं ये उनका पर्सपेक्टिव था और मुझे भी कुछ देर के लिए वो ऐसा ही लगा कि कोई मुस्लिम स्कॉलर बैठ के बात कर रहा है मुझे तो मैंने तलाश किया मुफ्ती मुनीवर रहमान जैसे लगे वो बिल्कुल तकरीबन दाढ़ी है वज़ू करके बात कर रहे हैं सीधे हाथ सीधे पाँव इन सब चीज़ों का पता है तो ये कुछ सिमिलरिटीज़ हैं मैं जो कहना चाह रहा हूँ आप समझे उन्होंने बात की इट्स the previous discussion we had, especially the way you have answered questions, it gives me a lot of big impression that you know you have very good knowledge about Islam, you know, much better than any others.